Hey, this is Tommy Gibbs, and there I am. I thought I'd do a little video to maybe explain to you what I actually do in my workshops. Either you contacted me about the possibility of doing a workshop for you and your team and your previous client. You're someone that may have heard my name out there some way. Maybe someone referred you to me, or maybe you heard me speak in a 20 group or convention of some sort. Oftentimes I get asked, hey Tommy, how can you give us enough information in a half-day workshop? That's what I'm talking about is my standard half-day used car workshop. And people say, how can you give us enough information in just a half a day to make a difference? Well, here's the deal. I was a new car dealer for a long time. Many of you know that, had a lot of great success. I cashed out back in around 2003, and I'd always wanted to do what I do today, and that is to talk about used cars and leadership skills. And so during those years, I was a big proponent of training. I had my own training company at one time, a separate training company where we recruited and trained for our dealerships that were in my group. I always had an on-site trainer. I always had someone that at the store, and we were always going away to workshops and seminars and that sort of thing, like I'm sure like you do. And one of the problems I ran into is that oftentimes these workshops you go to, they're 2 or 3 days long. There's a whole lot of fluff and puff in them, I got to tell you. And most of the information they share with you, if they just got you to the meat and potatoes instead of jacking around with a lot of information that really doesn't do anything for anyone, you could do it in a lot less time. So when I started this workshop business, I was determined to try to condense everything and make it as tight as I possibly could, so as to make the best use of your time and certainly of my time. So that's kind of how it works. Now, this half-day deal, I like to, whenever possible, to spend some time with you, whoever you might be, one-on-one on the phone before we get together to do the workshop. So 2 or 3 days, a week before, whatever. I like to get inside your organization a little bit by having a conversation with you to figure out what's going on, who's who does what are the challenges, what's your staff like in the history, and certainly the history of your store. That information really does help me when I actually do the workshop for your team. It helps me kind of understand what's going on in your operation, and I tailor my workshop to sort of fit what's going on with your dealership and your group, if that be the case. Oftentimes we have a lot of people in our organization who are darn good people. They have some pretty good ideas about used cars. That's what we're talking about here. But things get discombobulated because your used car manager kind of has a way of thinking. The GSM kind of has a way of thinking. Your desk manager kind of has a way of thinking. The dealer or GM, you can understand that, and certainly the service director, they have their own way of thinking as well. But things don't really mesh because everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and they're doing the best they can. What my workshop does for you and your team, it gets everybody on the same page. And I know that's kind of a cliche, but boy, does it make a big difference in our business. If you were running a football team and the offensive line's running a different play than the offensive backfield, that's chaos. That does happen sometime on a broken play, and somebody gets knocked to the dirt pretty hard. So my workshop will get everybody on the same team. Now, here's what makes it so extremely effective for you, and that is that within about 48 to 72 hours after my workshop, what I'm going to encourage you to do is to bring all those people back together that were in the workshop and have them list on the board 3 or 4 things they really like from the workshop that they think will help your business. And by doing so, you'll now go through those ideas, pick them apart, grab 3 or 4 that the group can agree on, and focus on those for the next 90 days. Now, what I didn't say a minute ago, and I should have already said this, is that when we do the workshop, it's imperative for you to put as many members of your management team in the workshop as possible. So anybody you can free up, F&I, new car, BDC, internet, your get ready prep manager, whoever it may be, as many people as you can gather up and put in that workshop, the better off you will be. I mean, if you have someone that you've got your eye on as a manager one day, so maybe it's a son or a daughter that's coming to business, whoever it may be. But again, the more people you put in the workshop, the better. Now, the name of the workshop that I'll be doing for your group is called Powerful Used Car Strategy, Speed Wins. There's no question that speed is becoming a critical piece of what we do today. I mean, if you can't get things online and physically online as fast as possible, and if you don't price them right, all those things that you already know about, we know that it hurts our ability to make money. Many people have heard the term the race to the bottom. There's this thing going around about everybody's racing to the bottom. They're pricing their cars on the internet. They're using a tool like vAuto, and we're just cutting our own throats and blah, blah, blah. I know you know the term and you're familiar with it. And gross profit, consequently, because of this whole theory of the race to the bottom, your average gross profit continues to go down. Now, you'll hear me saying in the workshop repeatedly is there's a lot more to this thing than the internet and the pricing and the vAuto and that sort of thing. There's a whole lot more to it than that. The number one problem, and this will come out in the workshop, and I'll prove it to your team, and they will buy in. They will absolutely buy into this, and that is that we sell too many cars late in the cycle. I mean, think about it. If you could sell your cars fast, if you could sell them in the first 20 days, which is the most profitable segment for you to sell in, then you'd make a whole lot more money. And never forget that in today's market, improving your average gross profit is certainly doable. The things I'm going to put on the table for you is going to improve your average. But the most important thing we can do, and we'll talk about this through the workshop, the most important thing we do is to improve our volume. Because if you could get your average gross profit, and you could actually do this, to $4,000 a copy on the front, you could actually do that. You're just not going to be very busy. But so the real opportunity is to improve your volume, and I'll show you how to do that. Now, here's some of the things we'll be talking about during the course of the workshop. I will give your teams a few numbers, lay a little foundation. Not going to overwhelm them with numbers, but I'll give them a few. We'll talk about turning the money. There's a lot of money at risk. I mean, even the smallest dealerships in the country probably have $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 tied up in used cars. I mean, I have some dealers that have as much as $12 million. And if you're a group, good golly, can't imagine what you have tied up. So we'll talk about how that works and why it's important. I'll talk some about external data. By that I mean, we have to become better students of the game. There's a lot of information available out there. Some of my favorite reports are put out by our Auto Count USA. It's an Experion company. They show you what's really going on in your market. I'll show you how to make the best use of those. Sorry about that. The next thing we'll talk about is pressing your costs down. This is fundamental. It's basic. If you've heard me speak before, you know how much I harp on it. But this really does make a huge difference in your business. I'll show you how to do it. Then we'll talk about attacking the 10 most expensive, why that's so critical to your success. I'll show you. I'll back everything up that I talk about is backed up with numbers that will show you the who, the what, and the why type thing. Then we'll talk about learning from the competition. There's a lot of great competition out there today. And without a doubt, your dealership, your organization cannot necessarily run their business the way other people run their businesses. But there's some things that are going on, some things we should pay attention to. We'll set the trends about where I think what's going on and why these people are having the success they're having. So we'll talk about that. And then I'll give you life cycle management. Of all the things I'm going to talk about, life cycle management will make the biggest difference. I'm going to show you a slide when I get through this list here that I hope will open your eyes a little bit. But life cycle management is a super powerful tool that will help you sell your cars faster, which will make you more money. So we'll talk in depth about that. Then we'll talk about the impact of the internet, and there is an impact there. And I'll show you some ideas on how to maximize how you put cars on the internet and some things you can do when the customer shows up. One of the things we'll talk about tracking is something called GAP. It's called giveaway profit. GAP is the difference between the internet price and the transaction price. I'll show you a team on why they ought to be paying attention to that. Are you drowning in water? I don't know your situation as of the moment, but you know what? If you've got aged inventory out there, you got a bunch of water out there. The first thing I would tell you is, whatever you do not take your cars to the auction and dump them. If you've got aged inventory, do not take your cars to the auction and dump them. It's just only going to make matters worse. So, having said that, I'll show you how. If you do have water in your inventory, I'll show you how to work your way out of it and get yourself on the straight and narrow so it's not a problem. Then I'm going to talk about stacks. It's called price leader marketing, stacks. It's a way of stacking some inventory up to drive more traffic to the store. Years ago, I used to teach something called sets and subsets. It's a derivative of that. With a new slant on it to make the best use of social media. And again, I'll show you a slide on that in just a second. And then you need to make an action plan, so I will talk about how you should make an action plan. I'll give you some other things in the back of the workbook that I won't talk about unless you ask me to, that will give you some other tools to put in your toolbox. It'll be things on maybe how to pay a buyer and that sort of thing that you may find very interesting. And also that section also talks about, in that section, that's how to acquire more inventory, some thoughts on that. Then there's a bonus section. This is your choice. You get to pick. There's about a 45-minute presentation. It's a separate booklet that I will do if you need it or ask for it on growing your leadership team. There's a lot of There's a lot of managers out here today, but there's not that many leaders, although I do see that improving. So we'll talk about how to improve your leadership skills, your leadership team. And some of it's bullet points that you already know. Some of it's things you just aren't paying attention to. We will talk about that. I mentioned to you a second ago about life cycle management. I'm going to show you two dealerships that are about the same size. We did this study recently. And these two dealerships are very similar in size. And one of them, in the first 30 days, this guy doesn't have life cycle management. He's retailing about 80 cars a month. So we'll come back to that in a second. But he sold the first 30 days. He sold 28 cars. His average gross is $1,758 on those. Total gross $49,000. The second 30 days, he sold 52 cars, average gross of $711, $36,972. Now, before we ever get to this point in the workshop, I back all this up talking about something called 30-30 and some other ways to think about a business. And this deal actually wholesaled. He had 80 units that he retailed. He retailed 80 units, and this is without wholesale added in. His average gross is $967. Total is $77,000. Now he wholesaled 18 units, lost $746. Not that uncommon. Total loss of $13,000. But when you take the 80 units and you throw the wholesale loss in, which way is the way most people would think about it, he did $799 a copy, or $63,000 in total gross. The second guy that we talked about, let me get to this, I'm sorry. Second guy, this guy is a guy using lifecycle management, similar size store. He actually retailed, if you can see down here, he retailed 89 units for the month. In the first 30 days, this is what lifecycle management does for you. In the first 30 days, he sold 62 units at $1,576. $97,000 in gross profit. Now understand that he's selling cars faster. He didn't make quite as much as this guy, but he's selling more units in the first 30. In the second 30, he sold 27 at $1,126. That's because he's doing a better job of putting his different types of cars on a different timeline. He generated $30,000 there. So his average without wholesale was 80. He did 89 units. Average without wholesale was $1,439. This is the reason this improves so much is because he's pushing more units into the first 30, 128,000. This is all part of the workshop. This I'll be sharing with your team. He did wholesale 6 at 1114. Now this wholesale loss is higher, but what he's doing is these were 6 units that came in. He got out of them in a hurry. He lost a little bit more money, but he only ended up wholesaling a 6 versus the 18 this guy did, who lost 746. Trust me on this. The 18 that this guy sold at the minus 746, those were all late in the cycle. He was scrambling to get out of them. This guy, yeah, he lost more, but what he's really doing is he's figured a way to retail more units. That's what's really happening here. And when you really shake it all out, he did 89 units. He did 9 more than the other guy, which is a minor point that has nothing to do with this. His average gross, though, was $1,364 versus the $799, and he did $121,000. So even though he did 9 units more, his difference in gross profit was $57,000 by utilizing lifecycle management. It absolutely works. Here's some of the social media stuff I will share with you when we get to stacks, and I'm just going to pop these out here in a hurry. And I'm not an expert in social media. I don't pretend to be, but I do think it has a big role in our business today, so I'll share some ideas with you on how to do that. And then there's the section I mentioned to you before that I will cover if you so desire, called Growing Your Leadership Team. I'll give you the 6 stages of management and what are you a champion of. There's certain things we need to be a champion of. Hey, I hope this little video is helpful in you making a decision. I'd love to work with you and your team. There's no doubt I can help you and your team. If you think about it, the investment you're making, it's going to come back to you tenfold in a very short period of time. Thanks and have a great day.